Tia e mauri ora. Tāne, i ahua i apua ki te pō uri ki te pō tangotango ki te wōpā. Tēnei te toki a rātā ka au ka mau, karanga ki te tāhuhu nui o rehua. Ki a rākea nei e ko tānei te pupuhi. Wāia te kawa nui, ko te kawa roa, ko te kawa arahuta. Kurua mā titi, kurua mā tātā, ko tangotango, ko te waihi, ko te wairoa. Ko te toitoi tūtahuna, ko te harakeke nā māui, whano, whanake, tūmai te toki, haumi e, hui e, tāiki e. This karakia was one of the karakia that they used to start the Maniapoto whare wānanga. Yeah, and you may not be aware that we know of at least 4 whare wānanga in the Rohepotai, in the Nehenehenui area, from Kahuwera in the south to Kawhia Te Ahurei in the north. And those karakia wānanga began around about Te Pūtūtanga o Pipiri, which is next week. Whare wānanga took place in the cold, wet winter months, not because there wasn't much else happening in the cold, wet winter months, but in fact, when you're forced to stay inside because of the weather, that's an ideal time to share understandings. So our karakia are firstly to acknowledge the unseen, which some people call God, some people call other things. And the karakia acknowledges our relationship with that unseen. And this was a very, very key, critical part of the old whare wānanga. I apologise to Cassidy, to Tumuana and Maria, in that yesterday I was caught in a wānanga. And I'm in that wānanga again today. And the group that are running this wānanga are mostly academics, mostly at all of the universities across Aotearoa. But we also have some from overseas, especially from Canada, and the people, the First Nations people of Canada, and other representatives from Africa, South America, as well as North America, Asia, including the India, and the topic of that wānanga, and the name of the group is Wero, W-E-R-O. And it's an acronym which is Working to End Racial Oppression. In this world of the COVID and so many other things that are besetting us as people, racism continues to be a major concern in the way that we treat each other. And I just thought I'd read to you this morning our Wero definition of racism. And it goes like this. We define racism as a structural phenomenon that creates and reproduces racialized inequities and power hierarchies through often ostensibly colorblind policies, institutional practices, and representations. Thus, racial inequities are themselves evidence of racism. So when racism or the fact that you belong to a different racial group is used against you, either to promote or extend the power of the person who is using that tool to extend his or her own power, their own power. That sometimes is both conscious, deliberate, but sadly also unconscious. It happens because very often people don't know any better. So our goal in Wero is working to end racial oppression. And in that work, I've challenged the group to kia wero hia te wero. Kia wero te wero hia. And I would translate that as you will all know that a wero is described most often today as a challenge. Well, I think it's a little bit more than just a challenge. Number one, when you go onto a marae or go into another space and someone comes out to wero you, take that please as a privilege, as an honour, that the people that are coming out to wero recognise your mana and how important and how special you or your group are. Secondly, they are asserting their own mana, that they have a power in recognising your mana coming into their territory, into their space. And so perhaps the challenge is, as I recognise your mana, you recognise mine. And if we don't recognise each other's mana, then we're in trouble. This idea of manaki, of course, is how we look after each other. But more, it's how we negotiate our mana. I have mana, you have mana. This morning, in trying to negotiate that mana, I want to recognise your mana. I'm sad that I can't recognise the mana of Maria, Cassidy, and Tumwana, who join us almost every morning, but that's because I didn't manaki them yesterday in not sending them the link to this. So in this wero, W-E-R-O, working to end racial oppression, of course there is a challenge. But the very simple and most straightforward thing about this wero and this program that I'm on at the moment is that there's a challenge for us to recognise each other's mana. Not only our mana as human beings, but the mana of our environment. It's all really, I think, quite straightforward. But we as human beings, we trip up now and again. And in that tripping up, we have mechanisms in place, tikanga, to bring that back online. Kia kaha tātou, the tikanga of our karakia. We started the karakia to address the COVID-19 and to manaki those of us who are threatened in that. As our karakia has extended, the karakia have become something of a wānanga, where we wānanga the karakia that we share. And as I shared in that first karakia, that karakia is about opening the whare wānanga that our tūpuna organised in these wintry months. In those whare wānanga, the importance of manaaki, the manaaki of the knowledge that was shared, the manaaki of the people during the wintry months, the manaaki of the spaces that they met in and on. All of this manaaki, as we were affected by the arrival of missionaries. Many of our tūpuna took on the Christian message of love God with all your might, love one another. This message resonated with many of our tūpuna, so they took that message to heart and adopted the Christian and adapted our pre-European, pre-Christian philosophies to suit what was happening in their world at that time. We do the same today. We adopt, we adapt. But at the very, very base of that adoption and adaptation, I personally would hope that we each see how important manaaki is. Unfortunately, being human, some were caught in greedy acquisition of the lands, the livelihoods and the lives of others. And so some of those pretending to be Christian, pretending to love the neighbour, sent the troops in, and you all know about the raupatu. Sadly, that rejection of the principles of manaaki and those principles of us acknowledging, as in the earlier karakia, Tāne, who played such an important part in separating his mother and his father and allowing us to enjoy te ao marama, ki te whai ao, ki te ao marama. So may the rest of the day be enlightening for you, as I'm sure it will be for me when I rejoin my colleagues at our wānanga. And as we move into this wintry season, you might wānanga more and take advantage of the matariki holiday. And a little more, learning more about the stars and about matariki. The importance of matariki to us. The importance of how we relate to our environment and how we relate to each other. Hoi nō rā, tēnā koutou, kia ora hui hui tātou. Thank you for the messages, those of you who have been dropping notes on the chat. Please feel free to do that. It's really good to get messages, not only that people are listening to these things as I talk into this camera, but also that people are reflecting on, yes, what we might be saying in these morning karakia, courtesy of Maniaporo MFM and Nehenehenui RMC, but reflecting on how you are in your space with those that you are with or wish to be with or have a regard for. Bueno, Kia tau iho ngā manaakitanga a te wāhi ngaro. Ki runga kia koutou, tātou katoa, e whai nei i te māramatanga. Kia tiheia te mauri ora ki te whai ao, ki te ao mārama, pai mārire kia tātou katoa.